Merci. Madam Chairperson, I would like to express at the outset that it's honestly my privilege to be part of this exceptionally important meeting organized by the Council of Europe to discuss and share our opinions in relation to a tantalizing issue, that of child sexual abuse in the circle of trust and the policies that need to be in place so as to address it. Please allow me to also extend my thankfulness to the organizers and the Russian State Duma for hosting this meeting. As the meeting nears its ending, we have to acknowledge that the various presentations and discussions that have taken place so far reflect the seriousness of the issue and the imperative need to adopt rigid, legally correct and efficient, effective and proactive policies so as to address this phenomenon. And it is, unfortunately, a phenomenon that operates like a plague in today's society, affecting the most important and promising actors in our communities, our children. And we should truly pay attention to policies, programs and initiatives relating to the children's full implementation of rights and advancement of their potentials. Honorable participants, I will start my intervention by its conclusion. It is undoubtedly, justly, and really the time to move up a gear on the rights of the child and to transform policy objectives into action. It really sounds like transforming the frog into a prince. Transform policies into actions. Transform our society's attitude towards the issue. Mainstreaming our objectives, taking positive, proactive action towards problems, and of course, eliminating them. Our society has made good progress in relation to putting in place a legal framework to protect, promote, and enforce children's rights and tackle child sexual abuse, not only in the circle of trust, but also elsewhere. Although additional steps should also be taken, what we are lacking today is implementation of policies into real action. The adoption of the Council of Europe Convention on the Protection of Children Against Sexual Exploitation and Sexual Abuse, known as the Lanzarote Convention, was and it is considered to be the most important step in relation to addressing issues concerning children and issues relating to the sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against children. It is important at this stage to emphasize that there is an immense need to promote the Convention's ratification by states. As already have been mentioned, 23 states have so far ratified or acceded to the Convention, and there are still 22 states that have not yet ratified the Convention, including, for example, my country, Cyprus, which nevertheless discusses the issue in the relative Parliamentary Committee. But maybe we're running out of time for discussion, and it is about time to take action. So the infamous circle of trust. The circle of trust is a concept oftenly misinterpreted for the purposes of addressing issues relating to children's sexual abuse and sexual exploitation. Although definitions have been already given and important policies have been already highlighted in previous presentations, I believe that the complexity of the issues involved makes their examination dubious and problematic. And truly, the main problem seems to relate to the existing understanding of child sexual abuse in the circle of trust. It is, of course, a brutal statistical fact that children are mostly abused within their immediate circle, the circle of trust, and that would be their families, immediate relatives, and those directly involved with them. The point, however, is not to place the child at the center of our policies. This has been already done to a lesser or greater extent, almost universally. I suggest that it is, at this stage, of paramount importance to bring the child up front our policies. The circle of trust is not only about the immediate family of the child, it is about the whole community, which itself creates varying and various circles of trust within which the child is interlocked to the different circles. Bringing the child to the front of those circles of trust will undoubtedly shed new light into the type, quality, and quantity of policies that need to be implemented to stop sexual abuse and sexual violence against children. The circles of trust do play an important role in addressing the issue under examination. It should be remembered that the role of trust and its effects are important in actually tackling instances of abuse and violence within the circle. The child will often feel obliged to respect the circle and thus not report an incident. The environment in general and the surrounding circles might also prevent reporting such incidents. It is thus important to identify the particular problems for the child within the circle of trust and then adopt generic policies to address the phenomenon. Undoubtedly, the role of non-governmental organizations is prominent in this area. NGOs can easily adapt to the circumstances and can evenly assist intergovernmental and regional organizations to adjust to the complexities of dealing with sexual violence against children in the circle of trust within their respective societies. Civil society has always been a pioneer and has always been of the utmost help to the law and decision-making procedures existing within and above the national state. Good practices in implementing legal texts are a useful tool and constitute the necessary means of firstly identifying the problem and then eliminating it. Hope for Children, UNCRC Policy Center of Cyprus, which promotes the Council of Europe's 1 in 5 campaign in Cyprus, has cooperated with its circle of trust, including governmental agencies such as the Ministry of Labour, Welfare and Social Insurance, which is the government's body responsible for implementing the provisions of the Lanzarote Convention, the Ministry of Justice and Public Order, the police, the Ministry of Education, and the Ombudsman for Child Rights, in addition to other social partners, to get at the heart of the issue, the children themselves, and create another circle of trust within which children can speak of themselves, talk about their issues, and feel comfortable to speak about sexual violence that was directed against them. We can now identify a number of policies to address the situation. For example, we are in the process of creating, actually the initiative is really close to completion with the preparations of its launch, the first child law clinic in Cyprus, as part of the University of Nicosia's law clinic, which I direct. This is an immediate response to the lack of a child-friendly legal and juridical system aiming to enhance knowledge of children's rights with a particular emphasis on pre-litigation assistance and research on issues relating to the sexual abuse and sexual exploitation of children. Improving the quality of children's representation and promoting evidence-based reform in all areas of child law is a step towards the full realization of children's rights in general and the provisions of the Lanzarote Convention relating to the implementation of preventive measures against sexual abuse and sexual exploitation of children, and in particular, recruitment, training, and awareness raising of persons working in contact with children, implementation of national measures of coordination and collaboration for specialized authorities, assistance to victims, and guidance relating to substantive criminal law guidelines in cases of child sexual violence within but also outside the circle of trust, as well as recommendations towards amendments to the penal criminal code that will allow a better justice system for children, more effective punishment for perpetrators, and a number of technical measures to redress the effects of sexual violence against children. To the latter effect, we have also suggested and planned the establishment of child-friendly houses, also the first of their kind in Cyprus. Resting on the good practices of similar establishments, the house will provide a safe haven for children who, in an environment that suits their needs, can interact with child professionals and share their views, opinions, but also experiences in an environment that is attractive to children, safe, and respecting their privacy. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be creative. We need creativity in advancing our policies and, importantly, in addressing the challenges that lie ahead. We do need to focus on the child as an independent human being with cumulative rights, and we fully need to comprehend that we need to provide to children sufficient incentives to be heard. In most cases, the issue of penetrating into the circle of trust and revealing instances of child sexual abuse within that circle sounds like an unachievable vision. But we do have to, returning to my initial concluding statements, to truly, wholeheartedly, and sincerely move up a gear on the rights of the child and to transform policy objectives into action. What is at stake here is the fundamental and really outstanding obligation towards the present and future generations. We do have to rise up to the challenge. We do have to transform policies into action. We do have to work within the circle of trust and adjust our societal mindsets, actions, towards creating the necessary environment within which to address the issue of 1 in 5 children being sexually abused and make it a priority. A lifelong aim to enforce a vision which rests on the principle of none in 5, in 10, in hundreds and millions of children being sexually abused. We owe this to ourselves. We owe this to our children. Thank you very much.